Oh, so now what? Wait, what? That's the end? What? Huh? Wait, what happened? Other story die Morgan Damerung Damerung? I totally butchered that. I don't know how it's pronounced. I didn't even try though. The attack was reminiscent of a flash of light. Oh!
発にお目にかかる。私のことはカールから聞いているかね?
Oh. For a moment, Mary felt as if her body was crushed, but then, before the senses could catch up, she was being held by that man. Beauty that made the conscious mind go hazy. A voice that flowed with elegance and echoed with commanding nobility. Strength that made his embrace impossible to resist. To say that he had the makings of a perfect man would not be an exaggeration. No observational angle could throw a shadow over the golden mean of his blinding light. However,
K のためにこの夜会を用意した。僭越ながら、共に踊ってはいただけまいか。
However, those sweet mannerisms made chills overwhelm the very core of her being. Chills unlike those of a female awestruck of a high-quality male. That was definitely not what she felt. It wasn't favor, respect, servility, or dependence. That much was certain. Then how would one label this sensation? The melody of an orchestra reached her ears. They were standing in the center of a palatial grand hall surrounded by dozens of musicians.
彼らは私の騎士で同志だ。皆が K を歓迎している。さあ、共に一曲。
And so the ball began, disregarding her confusion.
彼は私を何と言っていたね。マルグリット。
It was strange, incomprehensible even. Mary felt unaccustomed to dancing, nor did she have a grasp of the etiquette required at social events fit for nobility.
理解を深め合う最良の一つとして、共通の知人を話題にするのは有意義だ。
Reinhard took the lead and did it all without flaw, treating Mary like a girl born to royals and raised like one. Not a single soul in the hall was looking down on her. Mary looked around in confusion, wondering what was going on. If reason had any influence here, then she was no doubt experiencing a welcome that most women would only dream about. He was a guest. The host was a man with no visible flaws. The hospitality he provided nothing short of perfection. Everything was gaudy, grand, and refined. Countless women might be reasonably overwhelmed by all of this, yet those who could honestly say they disliked it were few and far between. Then what was wrong with her? Everything, the man, his castle, and the music around them felt wrong. He was at a complete loss for words, lacking the vocabulary needed to aptly describe the sensation. He was looking straight at her. Mary couldn't help but shift her gaze away from his glaring golden gander. The orchestral music flowing into her ears were both grandiose and clean, clearly establishing itself as the amalgamation of many a great skill. However, each and every one of the talented players seemed clouded in something off, distorted, warped. Mary felt as if they were performing at a funeral. Then she realized that there was something wrong, something more blatant about them. There was a woman playing the cello. The left half of her face was nothing but a hideous burn scar. There was a boy playing his flute. His right eye was completely out of its socket. There was a man conducting the ensemble. His body was merged with something wrought of iron. Confusion gripped her with renewed vigor. Mary questioned the very scene before her as she looked around, realizing that each and every single one of them were missing a part of their body, be it a small amount or a significant proportion. Some even looked like they should not be alive at all. And then it finally dawned on her that she was surrounded by an orchestra of the dead.
答えは
The golden man smiled. He and he alone, out of everyone present in the hall, seemed to radiate an aura of perfection that bordered on uncanny. It almost felt as if, indeed, as if both the man and the entirety of this world was.
地獄
He had consumed countless people, the aura of their death and suffering still lingering upon him. Such was the impression she had converged upon.
なるほど変わらんなあの男も
He spoke with the grace of a devil as Mary finally noticed the core of her own unease. What would explain all these profound thoughts and emotions in her chest? Why did she know words and concepts that she shouldn't? Those very questions spinning in her head were more than out of the ordinary.
これは痛み
And so her lips parted to give life to that whisper. The knowledge she shouldn't have had was overwhelming and breaking everything that constituted her very being. She felt like one of the dead, still performing their piece.
地獄地獄か個人的には呼び名など心底からどうでもよいがねだが無冠であれば歓喜はない私の世界においてそれは許さん言ったろ愛し方を享受すると
She finally understood. This was fear. The only emotion plaguing her heart in his presence was absolute dread. So this is why Cagliostro told her he was a terrifying man. This is why Ren trembled at his ominous golden presence, and why Mary could even understand the fine details behind it.
あなたはたった一人
It was like him, but different. They were both beyond, but unlike Mary, the man was one who to repaint the whole of cosmos all by himself.
かもしれん
Right. A good comparison would be.
K は大海に落ちても溶けぬ宝石私は大海を染め上げる墨のようなもの
That is a really good comparison. A pebble, a drop, and a drastic difference in their influence.
波動と愚動カールはそう言っていたな前者は私後者は K だ私としてはそちらの方が眩しく見えるよ我が配下にも似たような資質の者が複数いるがね
Mary didn't want to know. She wished to stay oblivious, yet in the end, she couldn't help but understand.
カールは波動の激突を望んでいる無論私も故に彼がいて彼を愛する K がいるのだ東王マルグリットこの私をどう思うね
The ensemble played a requiem fit for the apocalypse, their instruments handled by an orchestra of the dead. If his world plunged into the ocean, its waters would be painted anew in its color, which was why
怖いよ
he was scared of the idea of that she and him could be ravaged and erased by this land of the dead. That might have been the first time she had ever experienced what it felt like to reject something. The golden man grinned as if that was the answer he had been longing for.
ならば共に天をいただかず岩をここに戦線は布告された
The attack was reminiscent of a flash of light that took the shape of a shining lance. The battle cries reverberating throughout the castle turned into torturous hurrahs as they pierced through her chest.
その誓い夢忘れぬように呪いを送ろう痛みが胸にある限りそは恩義を溶かし続ける
What? Mary was once asked if she wanted to go on a journey. She was fine with doing nothing but singing by herself for all eternity. She could provide no answer back then. Cagliostro promised her to make it enjoyable. She, the unmelting gem in the ocean of stars, would change. She begged him for an answer. What was on his mind when he approached her? What was he planning to have her do? Mary's consciousness faded as her mind took a dive through memories. How long had it been since the two of them had their first encounter? She wished Cagliostro to tell her what could have been going through his mind back then. She felt that knowing that would make it easier for her to accept the striking changes within herself. Chapter 7. Sacrament? With a K?